What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So we have a conversation at hand today for those of you who are on console looking forward to going to PC. I think there's strongly a case for that, especially now that seeing that the PlayStation 5 Pro doesn't necessarily seem like it has much to offer. And even if it does, you're still better off getting yourself a starter gaming PC build with what I call upgrade path ahead of you, so that when it's time to upgrade one of two major items, you basically are going to be doing a drop-in type upgrade. Remove the old one, sell it, keep it, give it to your children, whatever you want to do, and put the new one in, and you're, basically ahead of the curve when that curve eventually comes in your, just in your doorstep. Basically, the next generation of consoles may not even beat these PCs, and if you want, you can build it and guarantee that the next generation of consoles don't beat it because of the capabilities. Now, in this conversation, one thing that I usually would, come in contact with is the consistent, in my opinion anyways, misconception that owning a PC and running a PC is this very tasking thing. All the fiddling, all the updating and shutting down, all this stuff. But I want to submit to you that this is a misconception from people who may not necessarily care much for PC, and it's a personal preference of theirs. The experience overall continues to speak that the PC platform is basically the highest growing among the three. That's PlayStation, the Xbox, and the PC. In fact, throwing Nintendo Switch in there, console alone, all those consoles put together don't even stand up to the PC market itself. So what's going on is, since 2016, if you look at the data, more and more people have been building their PCs, and more are seeing no reason to stay on consoles based on all of these different things that we're seeing. So I want to basically dispel this misconception and tell you that, hey man, updating things on your PC is as simple as clicking one or two buttons with your mouse. You don't have to do anything else. In fact, you can set up your updates to be automatic if you want, but the reason a lot of people don't do that is because if your drivers are working for your GPU and you don't want to upgrade them, that's your choice. You still have access to all what you want, compared to a console where when you start up the game is like, oh, you have to perform this updates to, access network features. Remember, you see that stuff on Play. What do you think the update is? The updates are usually driver updates as well, or PlayStation operating system updates, the very same thing that you already do on the console or on your phones. This is basically what, on the PC side, you have the option to or not do. Now, let's go ahead and look at where this is all kind of like, stemming from. There's a conversation here, and Peter Ovo posted this little poll. He said you have only one place to play it, for life, choose it. PC basically comes out of 45%. Nintendo comes in last. And I saw this comment from this user, and they said PC is probably the best. Personally, I cannot be bothered with all the maintenance. So would normally say Xbox, but with things the way they are. And this is the person, in all fairness, saying that is their preference. But this so-called maintenance thing is not just relegated to this user, because in the space of maybe even, less than even 24 hours, another conversation of such came up, and this person said, when somebody said you better off just buying a new pre-build and keep your old PS5. I don't recommend you buy a pre-build. I say build on pre-build. You're going to be paying premium. This person said, nah, I can't be bothered to deal with the hassle of constant updates and driver downloads and all that stuff. Just plug and play, no issue. You do the exact same thing on a console. So I say, you can automatically update your drivers, right? And they said, yeah, I know, but it was a hit or miss. Half the time there was some issue, something that needed updating. And I understand like somebody not necessarily having the patience to learn, but that is also another patience issue, because things are different. They've made the console to basically spoon feed the user, because they don't want you to basically sit there and have any issues at all, because any issues will pretty much put you off from realizing that, hey man, I'm paying a lot more money to run this console than I would if I had a PC. But let's go ahead and see what it looks like to actually update a PC. Is it really this big problem that, these users are making it out to be? Now, on your PC setup on Windows, if you want to do an update, Windows will basically tell you it's time for you to do an update. And you can choose to ignore it. The problem with Windows sometimes is if you don't do those updates, they come in and they start bugging you, right? They start saying, oh, you got to do updates. But you can easily go in, and if it says, it's time for you to do your updates, there's a button here that would say restart now. When you click restart now, it just basically restarts your computer, and you don't necessarily have to bother with doing those updates, until a specific time. You can set the time you want the update to be done. You can basically schedule the update for a specific time. You have a lot more customization options so that the updates don't bother you when you don't want to be bothered by them. In case of GPU, this computer has a GeForce based, or I would say compatible, GPU. You can open your GeForce Experience and go to drivers, and you're going to basically see a prompt that tells you if you need to update. I'll switch out to the studio drivers because I haven't used those in a while, and they do have an update ready to go. All you have to do is click download. It downloads the drivers, and then it asks you if you want to install the driver. That's it. Your iPhone setup for downloading updates is just basically the same set of steps. There is nothing to it other than, say, somebody with their own preference is using that as some kind of a measure or calling it like a hassle in terms of running or, owning your own PC. You have to do your updates on your phone, or you can choose not to do them, right? But there's functionality that will probably not be available to you. There's security features that will probably not be available to you in terms of updating your iPhone. If, in fact, those of you who use an Android, it's actually much more complicated sometimes to install some software. I remember trying to install the DJI, software for the iPhone. I could not just go to the Play Store and download an authentic version. I had to literally go on DJI's website, download it, then come into the Android system to unpackage it and all that. I was laughing. I was like, it just feels like I'm using a PC on the Android, which is funny, seeing that some of these users that are probably saying this stuff, they deal with these hassles without any problem. But when it comes to a PC, somehow, somewhere, all of their technological acumen disappears because they just want to make it sound like the PC is this big hassle when in reality it's not. Those of you that are on console wanting to come to PC, I'm making these videos for you guys. I'm trying to let you know that don't buy into the misconceptions that are put out there in front of you. This is not some kind of, PC or console thing that we're talking about, say, back in, say, 2003 or whatever it is. Because this person comes back and they respond to me saying, I played on PC for 20 years. I know the scene. Console is for me and I don't have time to fiddle. And I said, but you made it sound like PC requires hand cranks, to get things done. I just use my mouse to do all my updates and type a single thing. And I said, I've played on PC since 99. Commandos on floppy disks, Duke Nukem. I know I just gave away probably my generation, but I understand that it's your preference. I wanted to make sure anybody who wants to come to PC reading this does not take it as the norm. That is my goal. That is genuinely my goal. I know there are a lot of you that are thinking about it. And before we hit the next generation, I want to make sure that your mind is geared towards having that as an option that you can explore. If you choose to buy a next-gen console, that's also your choice. I'm not saying that that's not your choice, but I'm saying you need to look at, an alternative and start paying very close attention. And all of the different concerns that people put out there, I'm taking my time in different videos to address them. Some will say, oh, well, but a PC is bulky. You can build a small form factor PC. There's a YouTuber called Optimus, or something like that, and he builds these small form factor PCs. Let me see if I can find his channel here so that you guys can see. He'll build small form factor PCs, and he'll also give you, the specs in terms of his name's Optimum, not Optimus. I butchered that name. He'll give you the specs and everything. He's built some for basically the same price it will take you to run your console, which I call $800 to $1,200 basically, because your PS Plus and your cost of games. And he's got a lot of different specs. He's got a lot of stuff. He's got high ends. He's got mid range. A whole lot of stuff. And there are other YouTubers like him that build a lot of small form factor stuff that are very pretty. You can put them in your backpack. You can't even put your console, except the Series S and say a Series X, depending on the backpack, in those backpacks, right? And those things are not even as powerful as a ITX build that you can put together and shove in your backpack and walk away. So all of those different, concerns that people are laying up, they're just their own personal preferences. They should not be what deters you. If you're interested, if you're, strategic about it, you're looking at the plan and you're looking at the future, looking for, possible compatibility down the road, man, I tell you, make the jump. You will not regret it. You gotta, I just think learning and getting enough knowledge is probably going to be your biggest friend before you actually make that jump. But man, once the knowledge is in, man, I can tell you, man, you're going to look at console and say, man, I cannot believe that I waited this long to basically, build my PC. And there's more videos coming. Hopefully we'll be able to do some builds, and I'll be able to kind of like, showcase a few really cool things that really resonate with the console gamer, not just, on the general PC side. I think a lot of the PC material out there is not really geared for those who may be wanting to come to console. And so we're going to go ahead and see if we can change that. So thanks so much for watching the video. Appreciate you guys' time and audience. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.